My name is Rachel Elkin. I'm in Math 2050. CRN number is 61787. This is my learning log for spring semester. Table of contents. Numeration systems, part 1. This is additive numeration systems. Continue of numeration systems, part 1. Continue numeration systems, part 1 into positional numeration systems. And another foldable that I made for additive numeration systems. Continue numeration systems, part 1 and part 2 is working in other bases. Continue numeration systems, part 1 and part 2 with place value. Base 5 place value charts and base 10 base value charts. Continue of place value and representing numbers in different bases. Continue representing numbers in different bases. Addition and properties of whole numbers with a foldable. And this is addition and properties of whole numbers. Addition properties of whole numbers. Properties of whole numbers. Properties of whole numbers with a foldable. And this is properties of whole numbers. Subtraction concepts with a required foldable for subtraction concepts. Subtraction concepts continue. Addition and subtraction and other bases numeration systems. Addition and subtraction and other bases. Addition and subtraction on an abacus. And this is representing numbers on a reckon rec using doubles. Multiplication of whole numbers. Models of multiplication. Number properties of multiplication. Division properties. And I have partitioning or fair shares. Examples of division properties. This is measurement or repeated subtraction. Week 3, this continues of examples of division properties. This is missing factor and bar modeling, which are a part of the division properties. Order of operations and exponents. Addition algorithms with adding with regrouping. Subtraction algorithms with the lattice algorithm for addition and scratch method. Subtraction algorithms with mental calculations for addition and subtraction. Addition mental calculations continues. Subtraction mental calculations. Addition, subtraction, and estimation of rational numbers. Properties of addition for rational numbers. And it's an example of estimating the following for an estimation example. Algorithms of multiplication. And this is partial products multiplication. Week 5 multiplication with 2-digit by 2-digit factors. And this is multiplication with 2-digit factor examples. Lattice multiplication, repeated subtraction, and long division. It's a lattice multiplication example. Multiplication and division and other bases. And I have an example of short division. Multiplication with 2-digit by 2-digit. Division and other bases. And I have examples of repeated subtraction and division and other bases. Mental calculations of multiplication and division, and I have a required foldable for the mental mathematics with multiplication. Mental calculations of division with a required foldable for the mental mathematics of division. Estimations of whole numbers, multiplication and division with required foldable estimating multiplication and division. Estimations of whole numbers with addition and subtraction. Rules for rounding whole numbers. And I have another required foldable for estimating addition and subtraction. Russian peasant multiplication. And those examples of Russian peasant multiplication and how I worked them. Divisibility rules. I made my own divisibility rules foldable. Divisibility rules continue with the 100 chart. Prime and composite numbers. Determining numbers of whole number divisors with a factor tree prime factorization worksheet. Determining prime or composite numbers continues. Categorizing natural numbers with a prime factorization division by primes worksheet. Number theory with factors and multiples. Factors and multiples with Cuisenaire rods, and I attached the worksheet. The greatest common divisor with a worksheet with color rods. The greatest common divisor continues. The Euclidean algorithm for greatest common divisor. Least common multiple with the color rods worksheet. Least common multiple continues with prime factorization and intersection of sets. The greatest common divisor, least common multiple products. And this is using the Venn diagram with the examples. Integers with the red and black chip model. Addition of integers, adding integers on a number line. Addition of integers. Properties of integer addition. Theorems of integers. Subtraction of integers, number line model with the man walking, showing examples of subtraction on a number line. Subtracting of integers continues with models. Multiplication of integers. Multiplication of integers continue. Properties and theorems of integer multiplication algorithms with the pattern model attached. Division of integers. Division of integers with algorithms. The set of rational numbers with the concepts. Concepts of rational numbers. Equality of fractions with paper strip fractions. And I included my paper strip fractions, which was required. Fundamental rule of equality of fractions with fractional parts of Cuisenaire rods attached. Unlike denominators with benchmarked fractions. Densenesses of rational numbers. The fraction talks worksheets. Addition, subtraction, estimation of rational numbers. And I attached a worksheet that used pattern blocks to add fractions. Additive inverse property of rational numbers. Subtraction and estimation of rational numbers. This is subtracting like and unlike denominators. Multiplying fractions with paper folding and multiplying by paper folding worksheet. Dividing fractions. This is dividing whole number by fraction. Dividing fractions continues. Decimals with an attached worksheet. And this shows their place values. Changing factors to decimals. Changing fractions to decimals continues. Equality of fractions. Terminating decimals. And this is changing fractions to decimals when the denominator is a power of 10, and it's an example. Converting fractions to decimals. And this is writing decimals by writing denominator as power of 10, example. Converting fractions to decimals by division. This is a worksheet that shows dividing rational numbers. Operations of decimals. And this is whole numbers, multiplying whole numbers by decimals. Operations on decimals continues, and this is a fraction, decimal times decimals using the squares. non-terminating decimals. And this is changing a fraction to a decimal. And this continues for examples of how to change a repeating decimal to a fraction. Division repeating decimals continues. And that's it. Here are my websites. And the note to the teacher.